Hey guys, what's going on, man? Ronin man here. I want to talk about second chances in this episode. Kind of what they are, why you want them, how they feel, and how a man has more second chances in life and than women, and how you need to know that, and you need to see this in advance so that you can plan for it and you can realize the value you have in a man. Because what happens is, if you don't realize the value you have, you will compromise thinking this is the best you can get, right? Whatever it is, you're like, oh, this is the best I can get. There's nothing better than this. And then what I found in my life is that there's always better. There's always better. And it's like, it's not just that it's better. It's better for you because you know yourself better, you understand yourself better, and also because you change. And there's something just refreshing. There's something really refreshing and invigorating about when you have this kind of sense that it's over and there's no more, you know what I mean? They kind of blown your chances, or there's nothing. You've used your opportunity and this is it. That kind of feeling. And then when you realize that you have a second chance, it's just an exciting thing. I used to play pinball, and when I would win another game, I had no more quarters left. I'd win one more game. I'd be like so excited for that game because I didn't think I was going to get it. I was like, oh, extra credit, woohoo, And then I play that game, really enjoy each ball and stuff, right? So that second chance, and now of course it's so much bigger when it comes to what I'm talking about, which is your life. We're talking about finances. I'm talking about your relationships, your sexuality, your ability to have children, where you live, what career you work in. All these second chances they're all, you add them together and you make, second life, third life, right? Like huge transformation in your life, right? Based on the fact that you have this ability to take the knowledge that you have and also the new person that you are as you change, and then to find something that fits in there, and then to find a second chance based on something that you would have done before differently, but you're going to do it smarter the second time because now you know it's a second chance, right? You understand all the little tricks of the game, right? You last time you fell into them, this time you're like, okay, I understand. I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to do this, right? I'm going to do that, and you're not going to. You learn, right? You improve, right? And it's like if you ever play paintball, like if you play paintball, you learn so much each time you go out there. And you're like, oh, that doesn't work. I thought that was going to be my perfect strategy. And then you realize, ooh, that doesn't work, right? So that's actually, paintball is a great example of second chance, because in real wartime, you make one error and it's over, right? You get shot and killed on the battlefield. It's over. So that's what's so cool about life in general, is that we do have so many second chances as men. I just finished an episode yesterday about a male insecurity, how to overcome your deepest, and I mean your fucking deepest insecurity, whatever that is. Every man's different. Emotional insecurity, whether it's you're insecure because you don't have enough money and you think that you're worthless and nobody wants you. You drive the car that's wrong. You just like nobody notices you. You feel invisible. Or your sexuality. You feel like you don't have what it takes. I've seen comments like that on the videos where guys feel like they just don't sexually have what it takes. Maybe you're insecure about penis size. You're thinking like, I don't have it, right? And or it could be performance. You're like, I don't have that performance. Like if you have any kind of physical ailment, right, that affects you a lot, right? It affects your ability, and then it makes you feel very insecure about it. Now, these insecurities, and there's a lot more. Like I'm talking deep insecurities, guys. I'm talking like your top 3, like fears that make your blood run cold, if anybody knew. These are the things that women will use to control you. So in the episode I made for Unblackmailable, it's a private episode. It's a very personal episode. And the stuff I put in Unblackmailable is the deepest stuff. It's the real personal change shit. And it's also very personal. So I don't want to put it public. It's just not made for public consumption. It's for guys who really want to change. Guys who are like serious about it. You know what I mean? Like, and I want to allow myself to be visible to them, and also they allow, because we do a lot of calls, themselves to be visible to me. And together, we're able to solve some of the most confounding, difficult things in our lives. And it's just been amazing. It's just the call yesterday was just amazing with Chime. And I just, I'm still kind of blown away actually by how powerful it was. I'm not kidding either. It was fucking insane. All right. And so I made an episode. I made what do you call it? I made a module for Unblackmailable, and it's how to be emotionally unblackmailable and how your insecurities are the thing that women use to control you. And it's just a natural thing for women. It's the way women operate. It literally, if you were a woman, you'd be the exact same way. Like, it's like guys hand the keys to women, basically. You know, and it's like male insecurity, even if you don't know a certain guy, like his insecurity, you know that he's insecure about something, right? Super insecure. So a smart woman will play that and give him praise for that and tell him, you know, he's the best sexually, or he's got a huge cock, or, you know, he satisfies her in a way that no other man can, maybe because of the curve of his penis. Whatever it is, she can make up something. Now, of course, the type of woman who would use your deepest insecurities against you is very dangerous. Very, very dangerous, because she's playing with fire. And women also have very, very deep insecurities. If you look at the episode, Women Lie in Our Closet, Lesbians, women search Google for the smell of their vagina more than men search for how to make their penis bigger. So women have very, very deep insecurities about the smell of their body. And so we all have these insecurities. It's part of our, you know, it's part of the human package, right? But some people will take advantage of that and and use that against you to get you to do things. And it's very easy to play a guy with this stuff, man. It's fucking easy as fuck. I think of it like this, and I'm going to go on. In Japan, right, the companies, they would have very good security systems for their companies, right? They had like cameras everywhere, like automated this. They had lasers that you would go through, and then it would let the guard know that somebody was out in the garden. They had, you know, invisible, right? They had, obviously they had very good security, like walls, and you know, it was the Tokyo is a very small place, very tight space, right? So they had these like very impenetrable type of feeling for many companies. But you discover one thing if you're there for a while. I had to get into companies once in a while without calling, and I needed to figure out a way to do it to kind of surprise people for a long story. And I wanted to find out how can I get in? You know, what's the easy way to get in? And I realized that as I looked at the company buildings, I realized that they had one major weakness, huge weakness, and that was the smoking door. Everybody in Japan, like 60% of men smoked at the time. So they would have one door that was open. Like literally, they had it like jammed open with a shoe or whatever, a box. And then guys would go smoke there, and then they would come back in. And it was like, all you had to do is, you know, stand there, have a smoke, and walk in. Any company in Japan. I was like, no way. This is so funny, because if you look at the company from the outside, you think there's no way in. I'm talking any company too, like high tech, banks, whatever. They all had a smoking door. And that was their main vulnerability. And that smoking door is your insecurities. Your insecurities, your deepest insecurities. You know, now, of course, you're not going to always have them played against you. But if you ever do have them played against you, believe you me, a smart woman can get you to make the biggest decisions of your life, including getting married, you know, and things like this, because she plays your insecurities. And that's why it's so important. It's not a daily thing. It's not like every day you think about this or this comes up. No, this is like the smoking door. Most people, like myself, would just come in a smoking door to surprise somebody for their birthday or something, right? But a real thief would go in the smoking door and would actually, you know, could do whatever he wanted. Steal plans for a new software, you know, rob the place, shoot the place up, whatever. You know, nobody wants to have a glaring open hole that makes all their security meaningless, right? That's what it would, you know, somebody like a terrorist would use, right? So again, you want to, if you're serious about your own life, you want to take away your biggest risks, the biggest risks, and that is your insecurities. And this is what most guys never, ever fucking face. Never face. because they're too afraid. Like if you're insecure about something very deeply, the last thing you're going to do is talk about it. The last thing you want to do is fucking, Google it. Really, you're going to be like, no, I don't want to go there. I'm fine, like logically, right? But the truth is, it eats away at you. It's like, it's insanely powerful inside your own mind. And it gets more powerful over time as you see things that enforce that belief, that you have some, not inability, maybe lacking in something, maybe not competitive with other men, maybe like an overall feeling of weakness or a feeling of invisibility or, not being good enough. These insecurities are what make, they are seriously risky, right? So I made an episode about this, and I have never, ever heard in my entire life anybody do anything like I did in this episode. This is powerful, powerful stuff. Seriously, this is like way powerful. Like almost like when I made this episode, you have to like listen to it several times because it's mind bending. I used a lot of techniques that I've learned recently about overcoming, manipulative people and situations, and I took them specifically from a man's perspective and from a deep insecurity. And I saw how I was controlled by my insecurities. Now, even if a woman doesn't do it, I would control myself. Okay. So I was so afraid of something coming up that I would do something so that it didn't come up. Right. So there's two things. Is like you have insecurities that people can prey on, people can abuse. And there's general insecurities that every man has. Right. We all are insecure about certain things, right? We're insecure that we're going to die. There's certain, we can get cancer, we're afraid of being, sick or whatever. We have insecurities about everything, right? Finances, sex, height, competitiveness with other people, blah, blah, blah. We all have those. But then we also have specific insecurities because we have a background, right? So maybe like I grew up in a trailer park. I consider that a strength because I didn't come from a wealthy class. I didn't come from, I had to create my own life, right? And so I consider that strength. So that's not an insecurity. It's not a weakness for me because if somebody brings that up, I'll fucking put pictures online. Like I'm very proud of it, So an insecurity can actually be turned into something that can never be used against you ever because you are proud of it. You see it, you've worked through it, right? You've gone through that. And now anybody brings it up, one, that they're bad because they're trying to use, something makes you very vulnerable against you. So you could immediately, your brain's like, ooh, that is not a nice person. Or that is not a nice thing to do, right? To play on someone's insecurities. And then you think to yourself, like, once you have this under control, you're like, I would not do that. Like, I would never play insecurities, people's deepest insecurities off each other. Although I have in the past, and I talk about that in the module, mistakes I've made in my life. And I'm pretty smart, right? So I figured things out and they worked. And I realized later, as I thought about it and I looked at my life and how I feel when somebody uses something against me, and I really changed. So it's not about being perfect. You're not perfect, right? No one's perfect. And you're realizing the ecosystem of manipulation, essentially, and how you don't want to be manipulated. You also don't want to manipulate others, and how that balance happens, and how to inoculate yourself against any kind of bad situation or bad person, or even your own mind. Because you can have an insecurity and that can run your own mind. No one else, you don't need any fucking help. You can just do it all yourself, like an automated fucking webinar. You can just fucking do it. Just do it to yourself. Boom, boom, boom. So either way, so that is the new module in Unblackmailable. I think it might be, in my mind, perhaps one of the most important episodes I've ever made in my life. I think this is like, honestly, I think it's an absolute masterpiece. And I'm going to improve it over time. I might even reshoot it because now that I kind of got all the ideas out, and it's very fucking raw, man. It is raw, dude. Ooh, that's why I'm not putting it public. It is fucking raw. It is very real. And this is the kind of stuff that I want to share with other people, but I also want to share it with other people who are also going through that same transformation themselves, right? So not guys who are looking from a side or not at the same level where they're willing to face their own insecurities, right? So the guys I want in the VIP program, I want guys who are also in that same state where it's like, hey, I want it, man. I want like serious change. I don't want what I had before. I'm ready for change. And I believe that you can help me with this, right? That's what I want in the members area, right? So either way, so that's up now. It's live, and I just sent it off to guys in the program. And I hope you guys that are listening, that are in the program, really listen to that one. I want to get your feedback about that one. So please respond to the email and let me know how that hits you, and we can set up a call. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about this. Because this is gold, man. I mean, you don't want to have these kind of smoking doors in your soul, in your life, right? So let's talk about today's episode. It's about second chances. And I think second chances are probably, I personally think they're one of the most important things, and why I've discovered them kind of by accident, like a man's second chances in life, and how invigorating and important they are in my life. And how I want to show you how essentially this is another hope. This is not optimism. This is like hope. This will give you hope and also a roadmap for when you feel like you've blown it. So when you feel like, hey, I blew my wad, right? I'm done. And it didn't work, and it was bad, right? Not only did I blow it, but it's over, and there's no more, like this is the way I am. I'm branded this way now, financially, sexually, age, whatever it is, I'm now in this state where it's a state of regret, essentially, And I want to talk about that and how men really do have more second chances than women. Let's roll through this. So I just think of my life. I got the idea when I was watching other comments on the videos. People comment or send me emails, and they'll say something like, I feel, I'm at this age where I blew it. I missed the opportunity. They say, I love your videos. I love your attitude. It's so great to see you do this. But the meaning of their email is that it's over for them personally. And I really appreciate these kind of honest emails, because this is when you're honest with this kind of stuff, this is when you open yourself up to change. So I'm not saying, like, anybody who would write a 3-page email to me telling me about this stuff is somebody who's looking for answers, right? Looking for change, right? So even though they feel there's no second chances, I think there's something in them that is saying, they have some kind of hope that maybe I'm going to hear something that's going to, you know what I mean? Like, maybe this kind of negative thought I have is not true, or maybe there's other ways to look at it, or maybe there's more than I thought. I'm going to take a chance, share my inner soul with somebody, and see what happens, right? Now, I don't want you to get the idea that I want emails. I really want you to put comments below videos, by the way. This is good for the community. When you put comments below videos, then other people see them and everybody shares in them. And I also take the time to answer comments. So often when someone sends me an email, I'll say, please write this in a comment, and then I will reply, because I want other people to learn from the things that you're sharing, right? And I want my advice and my lessons to be learned by others. That's why I do so many public videos. The only ones I put private are the ones that are either too controversial, too powerful, or too personal. There's some reason why the average guy wouldn't be able to, you have to be at a certain ready for change to even comprehend what's going on with certain things, right? And we're talking deep internal personal change. Some people aren't ready for that. Some people don't even understand that. So second chances. I think of my life. I've had a lot of second chances, guys. I woke up this morning and I'm at the pool now. It's beautiful. And I got out of the elevator, and it was like pretty cool because I got up here at 6:50. It opens at 7, right? So I got up here at 6:50, and sure enough, it was open. And so I walked in. I saw a girl in here So I kind of walked in, and then I kind of startled her because people don't usually come in. And so she turned around, and I've seen her here before. She's quite attractive. Maybe, I don't know how old she is, maybe about 30 years old. And she's got kind of like naturally curly hair, long black, straight. It's just this beautiful hair she has and eyes. So she turned around, and she was like, "Oh," she said, I didn't think she had ever noticed me or whatever, but she said, I don't know if she's from some wealthy family in the building or what, but she looked at me, she goes, "You're the yoga guy." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't even notice, anybody even noticed, I do yoga once in a while here at the pool area, right?" And I was like, yeah, I do yoga. And she said, and she looked at me very, very nice. And she said, "You have a perfect body." And it was like, I was like, I'm telling you this because it made me feel good. Okay. It's made me feel very good this morning. And I've been very, very loyal to the girl I had a baby with ever since I met her. So I want to tell you guys, like, I've been in a different mindset, and talk about second chances. This is like a key thing, is that you can actually change your viewpoint and your actions over the time in your life as you see new things, as you understand new things, right? And this is the state I've been in recently. And obviously this girl was very attracted, and she was very interested in me. And I still don't want to take it there with her, but it did make me feel very, very good. And I thought to myself, like, as I went, I had to go back. I forgot something in my bathing suit. So I went back to get my bathing suit to my room. And I thought to myself, man, this is so interesting, because this girl's like 30 and I'm like, I'll be 54 next month, right? And I'm like, that just, I would have never expected that a 30-year-old girl would be, obviously physically attracted to me at 54. You know what I mean? Like, I just never... That I think a lot of guys listening to this, you probably think it's never going to happen to you. Like, it's not possible. I'm telling you right now, it just happened this morning, and it wasn't a professional girl. It was a real, normal, attractive girl whose eyes were sparkling in a nice way that every man knows, and so that type of second chance. If you would have told me when I finished high school, I felt very unattractive when I finished high school. I remember the summer when I was 18, I kind of felt like it was over for me. It's so funny to think now. But I actually thought it was over. I thought, man, I've already had girlfriends, I kind of like got a grade point average now, I'm kind of set, And I had one girl, like I was dating this one girl, Judy. I was like, I'm gonna get serious about Judy, and I hope Judy doesn't leave me, and she did, right? It was like, I was like, I got a certain family, and I got a certain money situation, and I live in a certain area, kind of that grinding sound, like I kind of know who I am, I can't really change that much, and I felt like that's how I felt. Here I am, 18 years old, and there's been so many awakenings since then. And the awakenings, when they come, they're so fucking amazing, because like this morning, this thing with this girl, it was just, I was surprised the shit out of me. I was barely awake, and I was almost like baffled, and my face turned red, I'm sure, because I was kind of like, geez, a second chance can be much more satisfying or fulfilling than a first chance. Like when you feel like you're at your best, and like, you know what I mean? Like you just made a bunch of money, and you're like driving in a nice car, and you got everything and nice clothes, and, you feel like, you're at the right age or whatever, you feel like, hey, I should be attracted. People should be, and then if it does happen, you kind of feel like, hey, that's expected, right? But as you don't feel that great, or you're in a different state, or you see society going a certain way, and you don't expect, certain things to happen, and then it does happen, it's even more, it's much more internally rewarding. And I think the chemicals that get released in your brain are very powerful. It's like you just feel like, I don't know, just a sense of optimism. Like, holy crap, like, wow, like I never thought that I could be somebody that women thought of as a physical, attractive, sexual object at 53, almost 54. That never crossed my mind. If you would have told me when I was younger I would be like that at this age, I just wouldn't have ever thought that. And I'm not saying that it is who I am. This is an experience this morning. And that is a second chance, because obviously she was very interested in me, right? So we have these chances, and I realize, now to have second chances, you need to do stuff. I think you need to physically be in shape, right? You need to keep yourself young. You need to do certain things to increase the odds that you're going to get a second chance. And I want to talk, there's different types of there's financial second chances where I had certain careers in my life, and I felt like I had kind of blown it. I taught English for many years in my 20s when I was playing around with the girls. I was teaching English, teaching in a college. I was a professor. I taught in a high school. And I actually taught in a kindergarten, which was probably my most satisfying job I ever had in my life. I really could not believe how enjoyable it was. I remember every Thursday going to this, teaching these little kids. And I got the job just by chance. And then when I started to go, I was almost scared of kids. But after, kind of hanging out with them, one of the teachers came up to me and said, the kids really like you. We want you to stay around the school more. And I said, okay, you like more classes? They said, no, we just want you to be around. So can you stay for lunch? We'll pay you your regular, hourly rate. And then can you stay for it was a trampoline school, it's special for kids that are going to be in the Olympics, trampoline, things like that. It was like a high-end school. They said, you're obviously athletic. Can you learn trampoline, and can you teach the kids? And they had the ex-Japan champion was there. And so he was teaching me, and I was flipping up and down and jumping on these trampolines. It was great. And I ended up taking the kids skiing, and it was like a fantastic experience. But having this thing, because I felt like, honestly, when I was little, I was kind of scared of kids. Like my friend Tom had 5 kids when he was like super young. And I remember going to his house, and one of the kids came up to me. I'd gone there several times, and then he said, he said my name. He knew my name, and then he said, I said, oh hey, how you doing? He looked at me really straight. He goes, you don't know my name, and I was like, because he had 5 kids, right? And I don't go that often, and I just didn't remember his name. I felt kids kind of scared me at that age. I didn't feel like I had what it takes, or I didn't know what to do with kids, because I never grew up with kids around me. Like, there was no kids in my life. I had a younger brother, but he was right under me, right? And there was no kids in my neighborhood. I didn't play with any kids. I didn't know anything about kids. And when my friend had kids, and then this kid like confronted me, like super, super honest, right? And I was like, I felt so bad. I felt terrible, I stopped going to his house even, because I was scared of these kids, kind of, I was like, they're so confrontive, kids are, Now, of course, I was 20 years old, or 21 or whatever, but that kind of set in my mind, like, kids are kind of like very confrontative. They're very kind of scary. Like, I imagine kids just being nice and running around. And so this was my mindset. And then when I got this job in the kindergarten, I thought, okay, I'll do this. I'll make some money. And then when the school came to me and said, we want you to come back. The kids love you. And I was like, the kids love me? Really? And then they were like, yes. And they were all smiling, and they were like offering me this. I was getting paid like 3 times as much now suddenly. I did classes, and then I got paid for lunch, and then all the period around lunch, and then I got paid for the afternoon for teaching trampoline. And then I got trips all over the place, skiing and everything. I took the kids, because I'm a good skier, so I took the kids and taught them to ski, and got like lodges and baths and everything. It was awesome. And also I got this, I realized that, this was like a second chance for me, because I realized that not only do I like kids, kids love me, and I really enjoy teaching and helping kids. Like I'm like good at it, like this is like the exact opposite of what I thought of myself. I thought, I don't know, I was almost scared or closed or whatever. And then once I really was around kids in real life, I realized that it was the exact opposite. And this, as a man, I'm a very empathic type person. My heart just opened to these kids. I mean, it was like very meaningful for me, man. I'm telling you, it was my favorite job. When I quit English teaching and I got into headhunting, the most difficult thing was leaving that class. That Thursday, teaching those kids, that was the most difficult thing. And I mean, my other classes were hilarious because I was teaching as a professor, and the school was all girls, and basically like it was like a very freewheeling type of school. It was a music school, and there were going to be actresses and music singers and stuff, and like it was the teachers were allowed to fraternize with the girls. Basically, it was totally accepted, and it was common that the teacher would marry one of the students. And I was one of the only foreign teachers, and the girls liked me. So obviously there was a lot of interaction going on there, and very enjoyable, And for me, as I had like 2,000 students, but even then, that wasn't as enjoyable as the kindergarten was. I could quit that job easy, but the kindergarten job, oh man, that was hard. I really missed those kids, every Thursday I was like, oh man. Because they're just little bundles of joy to me, I love them, even when they're being naughty or whatever. I don't care, it's whatever, So either way, you learn about yourself. You get these second chances, and the door of your heart, like another door, opens. This is something that guys don't talk about much, but we're very emotional beings. We have deep needs, and these second chances can invigorate you and realize that you're not what you thought you were. Like, what a wonderful awakening for me. Like, really, what a wonderful awakening to realize that I was a completely different person. Almost, I feel like the difference between a cold prison camp, underground, you know what I mean? Cold concrete, no lights, mean guard, that kind of feeling, to like a warm, sunny, laughing, butterflies, trees, the sun, that is the difference I felt about myself once I realized that I was not what I thought. And I got that second chance to learn about myself. And I thank God I got that second chance, because most of my friends, people with kids, they keep them pretty close. You don't really get that much interaction with them. If I wouldn't have had that job where I was with them for many hours a day, and also I was teaching them, all these things that they were really enjoying, like trampoline and like skiing, and swimming and things like that, where I could really get in with them, and we were all like laughing together and running around, and it's just like I had that experience with all those kids, and that second chance to discover my true nature, my true capacity, my capacity for love, my capacity for accepting love, my capacity for communication with my eyes, with my voice, with my body, because this was a very physical school. The kids were learning how to use their bodies. Like I said, the goal was to be in the Olympics, and the Japan champion was a super cool guy who was teaching trampoline, and so that physical part of roughhousing and everything that you get when you are trusted and loved by kids is just an amazing feeling for a man. And for me, it was really amazing. So these second chances are no joke, Thank God I got that job, because that changed my whole image of myself. Like, I would have never even wanted a kid if I wouldn't have had that job. I think that job really changed me. And I was like, holy crap, I'm not who I thought I was. Like, my God, I love kids, and they love me. Like like, holy moly, like I did not know that. And thank God I found it out fairly young. I was still in my 20s, where I was able to really comprehend it. I didn't wait too long, It was already pretty late, because I wish I would have had younger brothers and sisters or kids around when I was younger and learned this younger, because I would have had more cool interactions, and I would have been able to give of myself at different ages, So that second chance was amazing for me personally. But the other ones are just like whip through them. I don't know what yours are. I want you to write down below what your viewpoint on kind of where you're stuck, where you don't have any second chances, you think you don't have any second chances, and where you've actually maybe experienced a second chance that blew your mind about yourself. I've had them so many. I've had financially where, I was, like I said, I was teaching English. I was making an hourly salary. Other ones I got kind of a yearly thing. I taught many jobs at once. I pieced together a lot of different jobs. So I was teaching college, I was teaching high school, I was teaching 2 high schools, I was teaching little kids, and I had privates in my house. So I had all these different situations, and I've thought of myself, my mindset was a guy who could only make, when I was teaching English, I was making about $7,000 a month. And it was mostly under the table, but either way, it was like $7,000. And that's what I kind of thought I deserved. That was my mindset. I'm a $7,000 a month kind of guy. That's what my capacity is overseas. Now, obviously, if I would have stayed in America, it would have been higher. But overseas, sometimes you compromise in order to live where you want to live, right? So I thought, okay, this is pretty good. I got it mostly cash, very little tax. And I was like, okay, I'm living a good life, $7,000 a month, single guy. My rent was $530. I had a lot left over, and I could do what I wanted, essentially. I don't want that much. I'm not a consumer. I was very happy. But then when I started headhunting, all of a sudden I started making, after a few months of headhunting, I was already making like anywhere between $10,000 and $30,000 a month. And that was like amazing, because if they wouldn't have given it to me, I wouldn't have even accepted it. Like, I was like, I didn't even imagine I was worth that. My mindset, my self-confidence was not $10,000 or $30,000 a month. I couldn't even comprehend that kind of money. I just couldn't even it didn't even make sense to me. It was dumb, stupid money to me, But I started making it, and after a while, I realized that I was better headhunter than most. I was very good. I did very top level guys, and so my second chance happened when I kind of accepted that I was a good headhunter. And I remember there's always a crystallizing moment when you realize you made it. I had a client who I was going to leave because I was leaving a company. I was going to start my own company. And so I told them, I said, hey guys, I can't work for you anymore because you are XYZ's client and I got you through here. And I had like strict morals about what I would do. So I told them, I said, hey, I can't work for you guys anymore because I don't take clients. I don't steal clients. So it's been great working with you. I wanted to tell you guys you're special and I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much. And then they were like, oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much. So then they called me after that and they said, the big boss in Singapore wants to meet you for dinner and reconsider. And I was like, I told him, I said, I can't reconsider. I don't steal clients. I'm grateful for when somebody gives me an opportunity and I'm not going to stab them in the back afterwards. That's just not, I don't operate that way. And they said, we understand. Anyway, we'd like to have dinner with you, with the crew, and maybe we can work something out. And now I knew this client was the guy was a Mormon guy. He had a bunch of kids, a very nice guy. And he himself had very strong personal ethics. I knew that. So I knew that he had some kind of plan for me. I didn't know what it was. I couldn't see any opportunity. But either way, so I had dinner with him. And I thought it was like a dinner for the company. I didn't think it was a dinner for me. I knew I was invited, but I didn't really understand. And then we got there and I realized it was a dinner just for me. And the guy said from Singapore, he said, look, we consider you a key part of our team and we want to keep working with you. And I repeated my same thing. I couldn't. And he said, look, I will work on that with your former boss and I'll figure something out. You're going to work for us and it's going to be fine. He's going to accept it. And we're going to find a solution here. So either way, my ex-boss called me and he said, I want you to work with this other client after you leave. And I said, okay. I said, thank you. And I said, I gave him one of my clients, even though he didn't ask for it. I said, hey, look, why don't you work with this client? Here's the number. Here's the guy's name. Here's what he's looking for. Because I wanted to kind of give him something back because I didn't know what they had said to him, But obviously they obviously were pretty serious about getting me. So, but that was when I finally realized, holy shit, holy crap, I'm a good headhunter. There's no way the guy would fly in from Singapore to do this because headhunters were a dime a dozen, right? And I considered myself a dime a dozen. I didn't have high self-esteem, guys. I fucking thought I was just a normal fucking guy, lucky to be here, I had low self-esteem, man. I grew up in a very tough environment, and I didn't think of myself highly at all. I thought of myself almost as, really, I almost thought of myself as shit. Swear to God. That was really, like, the bottom line was my self-esteem was, I was total shit, and you were stupid for believing I was great. That was kind of where I came from at the time. And it was because of a lot of things in my past. And I've really lucky to have this second chance in my life to realize, to see myself from the outside, and to be able to overcome some very, very deep personal issues, and to heal myself from past trauma, and to see myself from the outside, and to get some of the very best psychological help available in the world that could teach me things about myself and ways to look at life. So a lot of the stuff I pass on to you, I'm passing on wisdom that I learned from very smart people. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, literally. But I'm taking their knowledge, and I'm taking everything I learned from these very smart people, but I'm changing it. I'm not just passing it on. My knowledge for guys is specifically for men. And I really think men get the short shift in life. So a lot of the ideas I came from, I'm teaching you, were basically taught for women, essentially. And I'm changing them totally to make it for men. Men need this very much, more than anybody else. There's very little help for men in the world. And even the perspective, the examples, everything is always, men are always bad, men are always abusers. And that stuff adds up, man. And when it comes to personal change, you need somebody who, at this stage in history, now maybe 10, 20 years later, maybe there'll be a lot of this stuff. I don't know. But right now, I feel like we are some of the very few people doing this. And and guys are hungry. Guys are fucking hungry. Very, very fucking hungry. You should hear the fucking calls in Unblackmailable. Like, it's not surprising for me that we both cry. Like, really. Like, most calls, I would have to say, in Unblackmailable ends like we're like, guys, both of us are just like fucking, at some point in the call, are sharing something so meaningful that we're just like crying, and it's so deep and fucking awesome. I can't even it's like, it's just like it's my honor to be part of this for people, it really is. It's my honor. So second chances. So let me think of some other second chances. So I thought of myself a certain way with kids. I thought of myself a certain way financially. Then I took it to the next level and the next level. But see, the key thing was that first second chance, right? So after that, after I realized I was a $10,000, $30,000 a month guy, eventually to get up to $100,000 a month was not that difficult, because my main problem was my block at $7,000 a month. Once I broke through that, I didn't have any other barriers. It was easy for me to go up a lot, and when I got to $100,000 a month, I think that was another block for me. I made $100,000 one month, and I was like $105,000, I remember. And it was all fucking profit, like all profit. I think I paid almost like nothing in tax that, because I had just bought a car. Long story, I had a lot of things I could write off. So basically that money just went boom in my bank account. And I was like, how the fuck? That was another barrier for me. When I got over that, I was like, holy shit, right? So there are other transformations you can go through financially, sexually, with relationships, regarding your age, but once you bust through that first one, once you get that second chance with that first one, then the rest is relatively easy. You might have other blocks like I had, but they're not as difficult, and they're much higher. They're much closer to who you are, what you really want, and they're much more satisfying. So and also they're kind of less real. The second one, like the 100,000 was just like, fuck, what am I going to do with this? It wasn't like I'm not worth this. It's like, what the fuck am I going to do with this I don't even know what I'm going to do with this money. Like, I don't even need money. Like, I still, even when I made that kind of money, I was very happy eating a can of tuna outside of a convenience store. Like, I really was. I never changed. And the reason why is because that is me. I like to eat healthy food. I don't care about what people think about me. And I think it's almost the opium of the fucking masses, consumerism. for other people. I'm not against it in general. I'm very much a capitalist. I love our society. I think it's so great. Human lifespans, modern science, modern conveniences. These are all great. I love being around this society. Okay, I got no problems with what's going on. But at the same time, we all have different perspectives. My perspective is as a producer in this society. I am a producer. That's what I do. I'm on that side, the P side, not the C side, right? I'm on the producer side. And I always want to be. That's what I enjoy. I enjoy thinking of ideas. I enjoy thinking of concepts. I thought of a new bicycle seat yesterday that doesn't affect the muscle between your ass and your balls. Me and my friend were walking down and we came up with a new design. I don't know if we're going to patent it or not, but it was very enjoyable to think of, to draw it out, to think of something. Because we were walking around this park where people were riding bikes and we were talking about how that affects your ability to get an erection. Guys who ride bikes, those kind of bikes, those racing bikes for a long time, it doesn't affect your testosterone, it affects your erection actually. That muscle between your ass and your balls, you do not want to be sitting on that. You do not want weight on that at all. That is like evil, man. And I've known that for years since I read white papers years ago about it. But so we designed this thing, and these kind of producing things make me very happy. I just forever I want to make, whether it's producing poetry or producing videos or producing audio that goes with video or producing transformational consultative sessions or it's producing whatever. I really like to be on that side. That's what I like. I make things for other people. I'm glad that people like to consume, because I make things for them. I make things to help them, right? I enjoy looking for things that they need that are not being fulfilled. And I want to make those things. So it's not like I'm against consumerism. It's just that it doesn't turn me on personally. Now, other people, they really enjoy buying stuff. They really, they get a new car, they feel great. I have a lot of friends like that who really enjoy. They enjoy consuming things, finding the best thing and then enjoying that, enjoying the glass of wine. I got a good friend in Hong Kong, and he loves the good life. He's a great friend of mine, and he loves it, man. He'll always post like the good life or living the high life or the good life. He loves it, And for me, I enjoy the fact that he loves that, and I don't mind going out with him and doing that, because it's just fun to see the happiness on his face, right? I enjoy seeing that. But for me, I don't kind of get the excitement of it because I'm always thinking like, damn, how can we make this stuff? Like if he's drinking wine or he's smoking a cigar, I'm thinking, I wonder where you could grow those things. In the Philippines, you could probably grow cigars. I bet you the temperature is right. Maybe you need a hot house. I wonder if you need a hot house. I wonder what temperature, what kind of ground, or does it need iron? Or that's what kind of going on my mind while we're sitting there smoking a cigar, right? And it's just the way I am, and that's what I enjoy. So not good or bad, it's what you enjoy. So it's these second chances. It's a second chance for your self-concept. So it's like when you realize you're not what you thought you were, right? And that's a good one. Oh yeah, now that I've gotten older, I realize, and I've gone through a lot of things, difficult things where I had to struggle. I had to see myself at the granular level and the embarrassment of seeing what I was, the inadequate, failing human being that I was, and then to accept that, and then to change, produced a feeling I can't even describe. It's so awesome, And it's like I guess we'd call this a second chance in your self-concept about what you are. And I realize now at this age, which is amazing, it took me this long, that I'm a fucking empathic person. Like I'm very loving type of guy. Like I am. I just give love. That's just the way I am. I cannot believe, it's just unbelievable to me now that I did not know myself when I was younger. I thought I was this hard person, kind of logical. I am not that. And I never was that. I tried to be that, but I'm very much a warm person. I'm very much a person who cares about people, who feels very sad when he sees certain things, Now don't get me wrong, I don't enjoy the fake Facebook posts to make people feel sorry or anything. Those don't really affect me. It's a different thing I'm talking about. Like real stuff in my life as I go through my life I see a weakness in someone and I want to help them, right? I see somebody, and sometimes this is also my desire to help was recently used in order to put me through a very bad situation. Because I have this like never-ending optimism and desire to help. So if I see somebody who's kind of like got something wrong with them, something difficult, they're not quite, you know what I mean? I want to help them. I want to keep giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. And I forget about myself. And then I realized that after a period, I realized, oh my God, like this person is actually taking advantage of me. And I was like, oh my God. And then I realized where I was and how far I had fallen and how far I had gone down that thing before I realized it. And the reason why was because I was so empathic without even knowing I was empathic. So knowing that I'm a very helping, empathic kind of guy has allowed me, has changed have really given me that was my smoker's door. I had this insatiable quest or desire to help people and not realizing that I should put a brake on that. Some people will use that in order to get me to do stuff, you know what I mean? Like to manipulate me and use me up like a fucking shampoo bottle or something and then throw me away. And and take what they can from me, right? And then just throw me, and they don't care, right? So that type of realization gives me a lot more security, or like it protects me. It protects me because I now know that there are people who, you know what I mean? Like there are people that I cannot help and do not want help, but they might act like they want help, or they might play the victim. They might play, oh, I had a tough background, or, things were difficult, and then try to and bring me in. Now I have the ability to discern. I have the ability to discern that I never had before of people who truly are being sincere with me. And the story is true. They want help in something, or actually they're using it against me, or somebody in the middle who doesn't really want to change, right? They might have a problem, but they don't really want to change. They might be overweight, but they don't really want to change, right? So I can control, because understanding myself, getting that second chance of self-concept has allowed me to protect myself against the most abusive situation. It also has allowed me to save a lot, and also the time wasted, the money wasted, the things that go with that. Then also it has also allowed me to kind of respect other people's boundaries. In other words, if somebody doesn't want to change, that's their right? If somebody's overweight, they don't want to change, that's where they are. That's what for me, I always want to improve. Like I swear, anybody who listens to this, if there's anything you hear that I say that's inaccurate, or, like whatever factually or anyway, I love to hear that. That's why I make these videos. I love to put myself out there. And then when you guys say, hey, obviously I don't like abuse, but I do like when people say, hey, that's actually not correct. Because then I have one more thing that I improve, that I fix, that I had a misconception about. And now I cannot have that misconception, and I can accurately see that it wasn't this, it was actually that. It wasn't this number, it was that number, right? So it's like I see even making public videos as a way that I can display myself and also display my weaknesses and my misunderstandings, right? I always want to improve, but the thing is, I realize now that some people do not want that. In fact, they might be very almost panic if somebody points out, that they've been cruel, or they have some bad characteristic, but they're so afraid of facing it that if you point it out, they have no choice but to attack you, because not only do they not want to change, but they actually are absolutely paranoid and ultra sensitive, because if they change this one thing, right? If they face this one weakness they have, then they have to face all these other secrets they have and all these other painful experiences, and also facing what they've done to other people. in their life, right? So it's facing these things. The what you want to do is you want to face them in the moment as much as you can so that you don't get them building up where you're building a false persona based on essentially an emotional house of cards. You want to be robust. The way to be robust is like the internet. The internet has many nodes. Nobody thought it was going to work. They thought it was going to go down all the time. But the reason why it's so robust is because there's so many, it wasn't really planned out. The internet was like a total hodgepodge of fucking wires. But the thing is, that hodgepodge of wires scientifically ended up being the fail-safe mechanism that keeps it going. So sometimes a ball of string, a random bunch of things can end up being you can put an egg in a bunch of crumpled up paper, and it will protect it, even though it's not really planned out crumpled up paper. We used to drop eggs for my class when I taught in university. I had this one thing where the girls would, use paper and try to protect an egg, dropping it out the window. It was a fun thing we did, kind of like on a holiday type day. And it was really interesting to see which, some of the girls made very scientific things with triangles and hard angles, and other ones were rolling the paper up. And then some of the girls just like crumpled the paper up randomly and then just crumpled up a bunch of paper and then taped it up, put the egg in the middle, taped it up. And then they jumped it off. And that ended up being the strongest design, was the random design. And that was the one that always protected the egg. It was amazing. Really surprising to me too. Because the other ones that were more scientific, the eggs always broke. And so, I learned a lot from that. So sometimes a random thing can be more powerful than a planned thing. There's just there's some scientific reason for it, I'm sure, that anybody who's an engineer could tell me why that would be more protective. But either way, so these are the things that I've learned in my life and allowed me to transform myself. And also they give me juice that I can't really explain. This one is like, this is important. There's something about a second chance that just means so much to people. It just means so much. My second chance was when I was younger. I did not have a child. And when I decided I wanted a child, the fact that I was in shape, the fact that I was attractive, that a girl would want to have a baby with me, right? A girl that I found attractive, right? And we could make a healthy baby, right? That was something that was amazing. That's a second chance, man. That's a serious second chance. Serious, man. Serious. We're talking deep shit here, guys. That one thing can totally transform your life if that's what you want, right? So whether it's financially, whatever it is that you want to socially, the places you want to live, the self-concept that you have, having people to share your life with, whether it's new types of friends or a new career, sometimes a new career you might have a high-paying career, and you might choose a low-paying career that makes you satisfied, right? That might be what you want out of life. You might not want, like I went from teaching English to headhunting. That might not be attractive for you. You might be the opposite, where you chase the money when you're younger, and then you realize you want to chase your passion. You really want to chase your passion, right? And I think that's kind of where I am now, is where I chase my passion. But the thing I found is my passion is powerful, and my passion leads to money, because my passion leads to helping people, which leads people to get help, to be grateful, and that leads to very, very good things, because a lot of value, a lot of happiness is created when you help people, when you really help people change, because this kind of thing is not common, especially when you help people who really want to change, right? So these are the kind of second chances I see. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in the future with myself. What will be my next second chance? Something that I thought I was limited in. I thought that this is all I had. I thought this is all life could give me. I thought this is what it is, right? And now I'll find out something else where I realize that I can actually totally change. And I might even see things differently. I just thought about yoga being a great example, because I really, truly enjoy yoga. And I was not a yoga kind of guy, and I don't think I am a yoga kind of guy. Like, I see the physical aspect of yoga. I see the shaking, the bone on skin pain, and I see yoga as a very masculine thing that makes me a healthy, powerful guy who can do what he wants. I don't see it as I certainly don't see it as a political thing or as a mindset or as a, vegan guy kind of, you know what I mean? Like, I don't see it. I see it as a physical thing, like sex or the gym or jumping into a cold ice bath after being in a sauna in Finland. It's that kind of thing. I see it as a very physical thing. I see it as a very important physical thing for me. So my mindset changed, and that allowed me to transform myself, because now that I am into yoga, I find that there are other benefits also that I didn't expect. And one of them is feeling young. I just feel young. Like, my computer neck is gone. I feel young. When I get up in the morning, I feel young. Like, I feel younger than I did 20 years ago. I physically feel young. And I didn't understand. I didn't think that was going to happen. So that was a second chance that I never even imagined. I'd never imagined I could feel young. Like, I thought as you age, you go through these stages, and you felt this way when you're a certain age, and then, you kind of, that goes away, and now you're replaced by something that's not as good, essentially, right? Well, I think eventually there is the inevitable death that we all experience, right? But if science doesn't solve that, but at the same time, like, I tell you something, like, I literally feel young. Like, I probably feel like when I was 23 right now. And I never expected that. And I can't put a price tag on that. But it gives me, every time I realize I could get out of bed and I feel good, my knees feel good, my back feels good. Like, I pop out of, every time that happens, it's like, I can't tell you the amount of joy that I feel about that. So it's not just monetary or anything else. It's like this kind of joy. It's like a fucking second chance to be young, and a second chance to be young gives me other opportunities too, a lot of opportunities. But just the sheer feeling of not the inevitable, like, that life is not an inevitable crushing thing, that I can change my life, I can change my feeling. That's amazing. That is amazing. I didn't know that. I did not know that. I knew I could get stronger in the gym, and I knew there were certain benefits to that, but I was already used to those benefits because I did that my whole life. But the yoga was like, whoa, man. These were all new benefits that I didn't know anything about, like opening my hips. I thought women open their hips. Man, you open your hips and you just feel this. You feel blood going through your body, and it's a very empowering, awesome feeling. And it's a strong feeling where you feel like, I don't know, you feel like your whole body is like it's not like a bunch of parts that are held together. It's like this, almost like a young spider or something that has this, it's like this energized mechanism that all works together. That is an amazing feeling. That's a second chance I never even knew even existed. I had seen people talk shit on TV and stuff, but I never felt it, so I didn't know it even really existed, right? So I would say to you guys who are watching this is, I want to hear your feeling about this. What do you think about this? What limitations have you had, and what do you want? Where are you? Where are you in this journey, right? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about any reaction you have to anything I said. I really appreciate you guys listening, and I hope you guys have a great day. I know I'm going to have a good day. I'm going to do some sauna, and I'll do my yoga, and I'll do my swim, and I'm going to go get some kick-ass food with my friend who's visiting from Japan. So that's my plan for the day. Hope you guys have a good one.